early next year.
We want a date, Steve.
The specific date. Yeah.
You don't have to give us a time, but a date will do.
I'll give you a specific date. That's going to be the date that Steve goes out and buys 5 cases of champagne, some of the best hors d'oeuvres you're going to find, and invites everybody over for a big party.
Thanks all much, the Champagne Futures Market. Okay, cool. Thanks, Steve. Richard, once the disclosure cat is out of the bag, so to speak, what is the government doing now, and what can they do after the fact to, as you've talked about, control the narrative?
Well, I've never believed that there would ever be a fully free, open, honest disclosure by any government agency, certainly not the United States, over this. So there's always going to be the attempt to control that narrative. And I think we're actually seeing it going on right now with, as Steve was talking about, To the Stars Academy, TTSA. I pretty much agree with what Steve was saying here. I'm looking at this as a soft disclosure movement at the moment. So rather than have a statement from the president or some other equally high-level personage around the world, you've got slightly lower level but still very impressive individuals dropping one UFO bomb, as it were, after another for the mainstream media. So you're seeing in the last 2 years a very, very rapid sea change culturally that has been going on relating to the UFO issue, in large part because of these gentlemen who are pushing this, and I'm talking about the TTSA team. So I coined the phrase controlled disclosure. I think that's actually what they're doing. It's a controlled process by which, in part, they're rebranding the UFO phenomenon to what they're now calling UAP. It's totally understandable, but it does change the whole tenor of the phenomenon. From UFO, flying saucers, to UAP, we don't know what they are. And I think that's, from a PR point of view, it makes a lot of sense. They're dealing with an intensely skeptical, at times almost hostile scientific community and the whole rest of the establishment that is not sympathetic to this, and they've got to go very cautiously, and they're doing it. And they're actually becoming quite successful, in my view. You get the New York Times doing a couple of these articles, that's a sea change. But the problem with whether you call them UFOs or UAP, it doesn't really matter. UFOs are not easily tameable. It's a wild phenomenon. And once a little bit of this comes out, once enough toothpaste comes out of the tube, you can't get it back in. And one answer is going to lead to many more questions, which will lead to many more questions. So I don't know how it's going to be possible to contain this entirely. And by contain, I mean this. At some point, there'll be an acknowledgement, this is my opinion anyway, that there's a reality to what we call UFOs. That'll be out there. But you can't just walk away from that and say, well, that's all we know for now. Like, that's not going to be acceptable. So very rapidly, there'll be an escalation of questions. What about abductions? Is that real or not? Or what about the rumors of classified technology being held underground, or ET, reverse ET tech? Which, by the way, Steve mentioned the Eric Davis notes. That this is a huge leak that will not go away. And I'm particularly referring to the 15-page notes that were taken by Dr. Eric Davis in 2002 during his private interview with former head of intelligence for the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Thomas Wilson, in which Wilson explicitly said to Davis that in '97 he found the classified special access program, the unacknowledged special access program that was responsible for reverse engineering alien technology. And although by rights he had jurisdictional authority over it to regulate it, he was denied access by the corporate attorney, the program manager, and the security manager of that program. And when he complained to the higher-ups, they threatened his career and said you'll lose a couple of stars along the way and get an early retirement. That's going to come out. And so this is what I'm talking about. When you start acknowledging the reality of this phenomenon, too many questions come up and the phenomenon is not tameable. So to answer your question, I think the one thing that you will see, and the one reason that, if we want to say those people making this decision are comfortable putting it out now, is because someone may feel that they are able to have sufficient control over most means of communication. I'm talking mainstream media, and I'm talking YouTube. So when you can manipulate and manage those platforms sufficiently, maybe the thought is that they can keep this contained, but I don't think anything's going to keep it contained. I think that'll be a failing effort.
In the spirit of not keeping things contained and control